Hello everyone and welcome to Crash Course. This is your host Joel Christopher and today's video is all about the Industrial Revolution. Oh wait, what? You said evolution? Ah, damn it. So anyways, before we begin, I would like to point out a small statement that is worth remembering. A lot of these theories are still just that, theories. They haven't been tested experimentally and there isn't enough concrete evidence to back some of these claims up. So, on that note, welcome to evolution. The first topic for this video is the origin of life. Life is believed by many to have originated in two ways, abiogenesis and biogenesis. Let us look at each of these terms in a little more detail. Abiogenesis. Abiogenesis simply means that life originated from non-living matter. This definition is pretty much clear in the word itself, where A means non, bio for living, and genesis for origin. For a long time, people generally believed that life was spontaneously generated from non-living things like sweat, soil, and wheat bran. This was also a time when people believed that storks would deliver human babies. A more modern and scientific theory of abiogenesis was given by two scientists, OPARIN and HALDANE. What they proposed was that life forms originated from non-living molecules that by simple processes gradually became more and more complex as time went on. This theory will be discussed in a later part of the video. This is also commonly known as biochemical evolution. The second and slightly more believable theory of biogenesis states that life arises from pre-existing life forms only. This theory was put into place by scientists such as Francesco Redi, Louis Pasteur and Lorenzo Spallanzani. What their experiments proved was that life was not spontaneously formed from non-living things, but only arose from living beings. Moving on, now we will look at the modern concept of origin of life or the chemical evolution of life. This theory is based on the assumption that life arose from the Earth's inorganic atmosphere as a result of a sequential chemical reactions that took place over millions and millions of years. Currently, most people believe that life was formed through abiogenesis first and then switched over to biogenesis later. The final concept to be discussed in this video is the OPARIN-HALDANE theory. Proposed by A.I. OPARIN and J.B.S. Haldane, this theory states that life was effectively formed on the Earth in two stages. 1. Through primary abiogenesis and 2. From molecules to primitive cells. They propose that the chemical synthesis of organic compounds was believed to have been carried out in the warm ocean waters. The existing conditions on primitive Earth have been believed to be favorable for chemical evolution of life. The synthesis of more complex organic compounds was aided by the abundance of energy during the time. These organic compounds were somehow believed to have collected themselves into little pockets, which were called primordial soup or broth. More complex organic compounds were synthesized in these pockets, from where life was believed to have originated from. The second stage of the OPARIN-HALDANE theory attempts to explain how these complex polymers and compounds form life as we know it. To our best knowledge so far, proteins can only be synthesized from enzymes. But enzymes themselves are proteins. Also, recently scientists have shown that proteins and amino acids can be synthesized without using enzymes. That is the non-enzymatic synthesis of proteins and amino acids. But the proteins which are found in living organisms are much larger, much more complex than those which can be synthesized by non-enzymatic means. So what this essentially means is that the OPARIN-HALDANE theory isn't really complete yet because we don't have an accurate picture of what really happened 3 billion years ago. The only person who is nearly as old is Queen Elizabeth II. To sort of sum up the OPARIN-HALDANE theory, here's a small story of sorts. Imagine you're a scientist who walks into a hotel and you're ordering a chicken manchow soup. You then carry the soup back to your lab where you start experimenting with the soup. So you heat it at the Bunsen burner, you electrolyze it, and you just keep stirring it in the hope that the chicken pieces in your soup are going to come together and a live chicken is going to pop out of the soup. So in this video, we briefly looked at the theory of abiogenesis, biogenesis, the chemical evolution of life, and the OPARIN-HALDANE theory. Hope you've understood these concepts well and enjoyed the video. Thank you.